Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here today. Welcome to Art 2 class, and this is our second day. So what I want you to do, just to let me know that you're here in the comment section, I'm going to share my screen real quick. All right, so today is Tuesday. So in the comment section for your assignment for today, I want you to just click and tell me a little bit about yourself. What's like your favorite food? Why you took this class? Just tell me something just so I can know that you're here. So I want to just hear from you in this section if it's available. I would love to hear from you here. And what I want to do now is just to let you know this piece behind me is actually one of my works of art. So it's a pencil drawing that I did. So just want you to kind of see some of my artwork, and that's behind me. I do have a little one, so if you hear her occasionally, she's around while I'm making these videos for you all, okay? All right, so today what we want to do is look at our eye opener. You remember you're gonna go to the section for this particular class. You're gonna click on this. It's 365 days right of your prompt. You're gonna click on this, and it's gonna take you to the eye opener for this particular day. So you need to look up the date, and you'll be able to find the eye opener. Okay. So let's click here, and then just go to our assignment for today and go through our lecture. So we are going to now go to page 356 in our Art Talk textbook. Okay. So let's go there. This lesson 2, we're going to start that today. Lesson 2 says the beginning of modern art and tradition. So our vocabulary terms that we are going to have a quiz very soon, but our vocabulary terms we're going to learn is the Renaissance, Mannerism, Baroque, and Rococo. Okay, so let's talk about the Renaissance, which was a wonderful time of rebirth and renewal. And Renaissance is interesting because it was a period at the end of the Middle Ages where artists and writers and philosophers were reawakened to the art forms and ideas of the ancient Greece and Rome. So what I want to do really quick is I want you all to see this video on the Renaissance so you can kind of get an idea. You can get an idea of what the Renaissance was about, and we could kind of go a little bit from there. I want to do a quick video just to make sure that, let me go back. I want to do a quick video just to make sure that you all will be able to kind of understand what it is and what kind of took place. So what happened was the Renaissance was a rebirth that took place in art. It was a time of awakening. There was so many different artists in the Renaissance that were really, really influential. And it's really an interesting thing to learn about, to understand what the Renaissance took place. So I want you to watch this quick video. Hold on one second.
When something better comes along, we're going to try it. We make products for the...
Hi, I'm John Green. This is Crash Course World History, and today we're going to talk about something that ought to be more controversial, the Renaissance. So you probably already know about the Renaissance thanks to the work of noted Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael, but that isn't the whole story. Mr. Green, what about Splinter? I think he was an architect? Ugh, me from the past, you're such an idiot. Splinter was a painter, sculptor, and an architect. He was quite a Renaissance rat. Right, so the story goes that the Renaissance saw the rebirth of European culture after the miserable Dark Ages, and that it ushered in the modern era of secularism, rationality, and individualism. And those are all on the list of things we like here at Crash Course. Mr. Green, I think you're forgetting Cool Ranch Doritos. Yeah, fair enough. Then what's so controversial? Well, the whole idea of a European Renaissance presupposes that Europe was like an island unto itself that was briefly enlightened when the Greeks were ascendant and then lost its way and then rediscovered its former European glory. Furthermore, I'm going to argue argue that the Renaissance didn't even necessarily happen. But first, let's assume that it did. Essentially, the Renaissance was an efflorescence of arts, primarily visual, but also to a lesser extent literary, and ideas in Europe that coincided with the rediscovery of Roman and Greek culture. It's easiest to see this in terms of visual art. Renaissance art tends to feature a focus on the human form, somewhat idealized, as Roman and especially Greek art had. And this classicizing is also rather apparent in the architecture of the Renaissance, which featured all sorts of Greek columns and triangular pediments and Roman arches and domes. In fact, looking at a Renaissance building, you might even be able to fool yourself into thinking you're looking at an actual Greek building if you sort of squint and ignore the fact that Greek buildings tend to be, you know, ruins. In addition to rediscovering, that is, copying Greek and Roman art, the Renaissance saw the rediscovery of Greek and Roman writings and their ideas. And that opened up a whole new world for scholars. Well, not a new world, actually, since the texts were more than 1,000 years old. But you know what I mean. The scholars who examined, translated, and commented upon these writings were called humanists, which can be a little bit of a confusing term because it implies that they were concerned with, you know, humans rather than, say, the religious world. Which can...
All right, so that's just a little bit that we can actually share with you all to try to make sure that you understand what the Renaissance was about. It's a time of reawakening and rebirth. So that's the main focus of the Renaissance that I wanted you all to understand, okay? So then, like I said, it didn't really happen all at once. It kind of just spread this time, and it was a major time where art was just everywhere. I mean, it was a beautiful time, and I actually had the opportunity to travel to Italy. I studied abroad in Italy, and I saw all these things that you saw in that video. I saw the Michelangelo's Pieta that was done in the Renaissance era. Leonardo da Vinci did some works. Michelangelo did some beautiful pieces, but Michelangelo's Pieta was, oh my gosh, it was just beautiful. So kings and popes had a lot of power during that particular time. And artists were commissioned during that time period to create different works of art, sculpture, and things of that nature. Then there was the Italian Renaissance featuring Filippo Brunelleschi. So Brunelleschi did some amazing works of art too. So I wanted you to be able to kind of see some of these artists' works. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a few videos in this link for the class assignments. I'm going to post some links that you can watch for today, so that way you can kind of get an idea of these particular artists for that particular time period. So it talks about the Italian Renaissance. Michelangelo's work was included. This is a little bit information about Michelangelo. He was an awesome artist. And it's amazing that he created Michelangelo's Pieta. This is a beautiful piece here. And notice the proportionness in this work of art, how Mary is just sort of, I would say her proportions are a little bit bigger in order to hold the weight of Jesus. So notice the proportion of the two figures. Mary is larger than her son. Michelangelo did this on purpose because he wanted us to kind of understand how Mary was feeling, seeming overwhelmed with the son's body here. And this is representing the body of Jesus. So Michelangelo created this work of art. So let's look at a short video on Michelangelo's Pieta. And what was so crazy about this particular piece is that someone tried to attack it, which is crazy. Someone actually tried to attack this particular work and like knocked off the nose, and they had to rebuild it and everything, which is crazy. Okay, give me 1 second so you all can watch this video.
At a painting, actually, but at a sculpture. This is Michelangelo's Pieta, which was sculpted between 1498 and 1499. This is a pinnacle Renaissance work. And I want to make clear that a Pieta is not only the specific name of this sculpture, but a term in general for any sculpture that depicts this scene, the body of Jesus on Mary's lap after his crucifixion. And the word Pieta is Italian for pity. This is probably, well, this is definitely the most famous Pieta, as I said, constructed by Michelangelo. You can see it today in St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City, but it was actually originally constructed as a funeral monument. And this was the only piece that Michelangelo ever signed. And he originally left it unsigned, according to his usual custom. But when people came and they saw this great sculpture as this funeral monument, apparently, so the story goes, visitors frequently mistook it for the work of another sculptor, upon which Michelangelo decided to carve Michelangelus Bonaratus Florentinius Faciebat on a sash across Mary's chest, which that translated means, in Latin, Michelangelo Buonarroti, a Florentine, made this. And he later really regretted this decision because he saw it, not as just merely signing his work, but as sort of an instance or outburst of pride. And he was embarrassed by that. And he swore to never sign another piece of work again. If you look specifically at this sculpture, it's in the shape really of a pyramid. Mary's head forms the top or the highest point of this pyramid and serves as the vertex for the remaining portion of the sculpture. And it's not well proportioned at all. Mary is substantially bigger than Jesus. And the reason, of course, that these proportions are off is that there's a difficulty in depicting a fully grown man in a woman's lap. But Michelangelo, the clever artist that he was, had a creative way to hide this misproportion in the size of Mary's body compared to Jesus. And that was by hiding the exceptional size of her body with this full-length drapery, such that when you look at this sculpture, it appears relatively natural, and you don't really discern the fact that Mary is substantially bigger than Jesus, unless, of course, someone mentions it or you really studied the sculpture. What's unique about this Pieta is that Mary is depicted not as, the 50-year-old woman that she actually would have been at the time of Jesus' death, but as a beautiful, robust young woman. And there's several theories as to why Michelangelo may have chosen to depict Mary in that fashion.